Okay, let's finish up section 7.3. Using reference angles, we're going to find cosine of 5 pi over 4. Now, first of all, we got to figure out, well, where is 5 pi over 4? Now, if, say I broke this up into 4 pi plus pi over 4. That's the same thing as 5 pi over 4. If I add the 4 pi plus the 5, or plus the pi, that gives me 5 pi. Now, say I broke that up, 4 pi over 4 plus pi over 4. Now this right here, that's just pi plus pi over 4. Remember, pi is 180, so we have gone all the way around 180, that's this right here, plus pi over 4 more. Okay, so that puts us in the third quadrant. Okay, and all of this, just everything I just said is right there in writing. Okay, so since we are in the third quadrant, that means that we are now using this formula. So the reference angle is the angle they give us minus pi, or the angle they give us minus 180. Okay, so since we're already in radians, we'll just use pi minus the angle that they give us. Or sorry, the angle they give us minus pi. So we'll take the 5 pi over 4 minus pi, which is, well, pi over 4. That's the leftover right here, which notice that that's the angle between the horizontal and the terminal side. That's your reference angle. Okay, so because we have pi over 4 for this little angle here, now we are in a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, if they had asked us what is the reference angle to 5 pi over 4, well, we would just say it's pi over 4. But since they asked us to find cosine of pi over 4, we have to use the 45, 45, 90 triangle to figure that out. Now, straight across the pi over 4s, this would be pi over 4 as well. This is 90. Straight across the pi over 4 is 1s. We're on the negative side of x, so we have negative 1. We're on the negative side of y, so we have negative 1. The radius, or the hypotenuse within this specific special triangle, is square root of 2. Okay, so we know that cosine of theta is equal to x over r. Okay, so our x is negative 1, our r is square root of 2. Now we can't leave it like this right here because we have a square root or a radical in the denominator, so we need to rationalize that, which I'll do one more step over here. Negative 1 over square root of 2 times square root of 2 over square root of 2. So negative square root of 2 over, this would be square root of 4, which square root of 4 just reduces down to 2. So we would have negative square root of 2 over 2. Now to make sure that we have the correct sign, since we are in the third quadrant, so third quadrant over here, all students take calculus. Since we are in the third quadrant, that means that tangent and cotangent are the only ones that are positive. All the other trig functions will be negative, which means that cosine should be negative, which is what we're getting. So we have the right sign. Last but not least, we'll find something in the, not fourth quadrant, but sine of 5 pi over 4, which you would go through the same steps, except for now you're finding sine, which would be y over r, which comes out to the same thing. Negative 1 over square root of 2, and then you have to rationalize, and you get the same thing as you would cosine of 5 pi over 4. Now, interesting, cosine of 45, or pi over 4, is equal to sine of, those are 5s, by the way, sine of 45. Keep that in mind. Remember, these are, if you have sine and cosine, and if these angles, if these two angles add up to 90, these are cofunctions, which means they would be equal to each other. That's why they're the exact same thing. Now let me show you one that would be in the fourth quadrant. So say we find the reference angle of 330. Now we know that 330 is in the fourth quadrant. So that is 330 right there. What we're trying to do is find this little bit right here. So what we would do is we take the angle that they, we would take 360. And let me show you the formula. Now we're using this formula right here. You would take 2 pi or 360. Since we're already in degrees, we'll just take 360 minus the angle that they give us. So they gave us 330, so minus 330. So our reference angle would be 30. And that'd be the final answer, since the only thing that they are looking for is the reference angle. So be careful on questions. Make sure that you understand which part they're asking you. If they're asking you just for the reference angle, okay, we're done. If they're asking you for sine of 330, well, you have to use the reference angle to get to sine of 330 for your final answer. Okay, and that wraps up section 7.3.